and it feels like I'm gonna have some fun reviewing it.
The great segue.
Bam, ba-bam.
Just
all right.
10 out of 10. 100 out of 100. Best segue.
Best segue.
This track.
All right,
no.
ready? Feel.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, it was unmuted. It was unmuted somewhere. All right, let's play it.
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
First off, I like the opening. Just a fade in and like just a slow, like on a line, because it sets up this tension. It's like, okay, he's gonna use that thing somehow.
Yeah, and it's also cool because you don't have any idea what he's gonna do, you know? You're like, there's 2 dots.
I just wanna smoke this weed,
and then that moment, oh, it's so good.
It's great start.
Yeah, this has such a good opening. And it's like he really expanded on that idea of having those little moments, you know?
Yeah.
Which I love. He's taken that and I love that he's using like these moments of like, boom, like sudden acceleration as like, oh, this part's my favorite.
Yeah,
that's easily my favorite moment. And I think the first part was very like sync focused, and I think the second part digresses from that. Flycapper's bit is definitely more focused on the idea of recycle and structure, which is a very Flycapper thing.
Yeah, it's like Flycapper totally just diverts away from the, like, there is no music syncing in Flycapper's part, I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
His part is just, it's not synced at all. And if it was supposed to be synced, he did not do a good job. But I don't think it's supposed to be, I think it's just not synced.
Yeah.
This is a great part, though.
Oh, yeah. Just variations on a single line.
I love the back and forth in that one line was cool.
Yeah.
And then I think Flycapper's second part is maybe an attempt at syncing. It's kind of hard for me to tell, to be honest.
Yeah. There was I think Dap posited that it was like a vocal sync, but I don't see it. So.
I mean, we can talk. We can rewatch it and see if we can talk about more specifics. If you want.
Yeah, sure.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Here's the intro again.
It's a nice intro. It's simple. It works.
I really like this track.
Same.
And I think that there's a lot of stuff in here that I like better than Seen and Never Heard. And a lot of stuff in here I like better than Fly By Night.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the beginning, I think is stronger than either of them. Like the opening is just great.
Oh, God. Yeah, like where he just sits there for a minute and then pushes forward on the nose. It's just such good control.
Well, it's just a commonly known. I mean, maybe not that commonly known, but like if you do that and he's moving really slowly on a nose manual, that's how it starts. But I think usually he doesn't pop out of it the same way. I don't actually know what happens, but like those 2 lines made it so he actually pops out of it and goes into the track, you know? I think the biggest thing that bothers me about this track is that Flycapper's part doesn't fit. It's great. It's neat, very Flycapper. I like how it expands on some of the things that he tried out in Miniature and Blue and some of the better parts of So You Think You Know Curves. But like, it just doesn't belong in this track. You know, it's like, visually it looks kind of similar, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, like they're both good things, but I think compositionally this thing needs to be one or the other, and it tried to do both.
Well, it could be both if it was both all the time, but sometimes it's only one, and sometimes it's only the other, and very rarely do they sort of intersect, and it's even not really clear when that does happen, you know?
Yeah.
So we have Lucking, who's like a little focused on structure, but clearly the primary motive is the syncs with the music, you know, in a seen never heard style. And then on the flip side, we have Flagcapper, who is like really the music takes a way back seat to what can I do structurally and with recycling and with like visuals that sort of trick people. And they're both creative and they're both interesting, but it's like they don't blend, in my opinion. And it's very clear all of a sudden when it changes, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, you want to? Let's just watch it again. Let's just watch it again. Why not? We'll just keep
again
playing it.
Okay, hold on a sec. All right, cool.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. I'll try to point out more specifics when we.
I also think this style of music lends itself well to like the slow sync track, you know?
Yeah, it lends itself. I mean, the music lends itself better, in my opinion, to Lucking style than Flagcapper style, and that's why I might come off as a little harder on Flagcapper than Lucking, just because, like Miniature and Blue music fits Flagcapper style. Anyway, so like these parts, you can see there's very clear syncs with almost all of the snare drums.
Yeah.
I love that's my favorite because he pops up from that horizontal line.
I love that flip in the manual where he's just like he's rotating slow and then boom, he goes up into it. That's my favorite.
And I love this part has a great vocal sync there, that curved line there, and then that pop off of it is also.
Oh yeah.
But then here. Like, I don't know what he's doing, but it's not what it was doing, you know? Not at all. I mean, I do know what he's doing. He's playing around with, like, very sneaky granules and, like, acceleration lines that cause Bosch to do weird movements on a single line, you know? Which is kind of like what Lucking was doing earlier, but it's kind of like, I don't know, it looks like Flagcapper, like, watched the track on mute.
Yeah.
And then tried to, like watch Lucking's part on mute, and then turn the music on and tried to make his part kind of music synced it, but didn't really pay attention to how Lucking was syncing to the music, you know?
Yeah. The things he does with that single line, though, are pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff he does, and I want to talk about that more in detail when we get into the slow motion.
Yeah. Alright, slow-mo it is.
Alright. Yeah, let's just go back to the beginning and do slow-mo. Alright, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh, we get to watch this whole intro again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting things that Flagcapper does that are going to be easier to talk about in slow motion. Lucking's part is going to be less easy to talk about without the music because we're going to have to try to remember the music, but hopefully now that we've watched it like 4 times, we will be able to remember it.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing about a lot of Lucking's like super music synced parts is that they leave a really good impression. Like, in my mind, I can remember that moment where he goes like, boom, with the nose manual, or like, when he stops and flips the other way for the loop. It's like, those are really distinct moments that I remember because the music points them out.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the power of music syncing is it gives you a sort of a landmark that says, this is an interesting moment here, remember that.
Yeah. Something else I want to point out before we get past the intro was, shoot, I'm losing it. Oh, damn it. Yeah. You know, in the past, I don't know, when people collaborated, it was usually like just expected that like one person would do their thing and another person would do their thing, and everyone had like their style, which I think that was kind of honestly like a detriment to art creation in the community, because people weren't weren't encouraged to experiment outside of their style. People just sort of did their style, and so like when you had a collaboration, it was just like it would flip back and forth between this person's style and this person's style, and everyone just sort of expected that that was going to be what happened. And I think for me, I'm personally at the point where that is, to me now, looks like sloppy collaborating. It doesn't look like something. It's not something that I am like willing to accept anymore. You know?
Yeah, my rule of thumb for that is, it's going to be an immediately more interesting track for me if I can't tell who did what.
Yeah.
I like this recycle too. It sets up like, I don't know what it sets up, but I like it. I like it a lot.
I gotta say, maybe we should just pause this for a second and go back, because we're not talking about specifics. But I was gonna say, sometimes you do want to have people do specific styles, and sometimes I have used that. Like in large-scale collaborations where it's like, say, Blackheart, for example, it was like, I know this person does this type of style really well, so I'm going to get them to do their thing, you know? And because that was kind of the mentality people already had going into it. It's like, I'm going to do my thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that can be used to be like, I want this style of track in this part of the song, you know? But when it's just like, I mean, not that this track is like this, but if it's just like Pendulum, and then you just have two people just trading off with like 10 to 15 second parts, it's like, you know, like that's the extreme where it's like...
What it is it's a collection of 10 to 15 second tracks by two different people.
Yeah, yeah. All right, should we go back to like 27 seconds?
27 works.
All right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. So the way the track sets itself up and then starts off is great.
Oh yeah, it's insane, that drop into the pickup. It's because it has that, it follows that like bass that's going on in the background. It's like boom, boom. And he does that a lot. He'll drop someone down and then immediately slow them down like super suddenly and yank them back up.
Yeah.
And it has that sort of punchy effect that you see with a lot of like the snare drums, and I think that sort of mimicry there is what makes the syncs feel so good.
Yeah,
the pressure, the way they're pressured, and the movement mimics that of what a snare drum sounds like.
I think it's a jerk in the motion, both the rotation and the direction and the speed. And there's this great contrast in these tracks that Lucking has made that's set up because you have these smooth, or in some cases flat lines, in some cases smooth curves that like slowly move Bosch in a kind of gentle way, and then you have these quirk lines that pop him. And when you set up that contrast, then when you have
this moment right here, right there, that is just this sudden like powerful twist. I thought was one of them. It was an interesting moment because it had quirk-like tendencies without being quirk, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, you're talking about that greenish manual?
The one that's super fast.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool things in here as well that are like unexpected things, and they're cool because you're like, you look at these like this a few dots and you're like, I have no idea what he's gonna do, and then he's like boom boom boom, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Especially for us who've
the
seen
timing's
lots of tracks,
off.
It's really fun to see things that we're like, I have
this
no
moment,
idea what he's gonna do.
This moment right here. This moment right here is my favorite.
So great.
Because it just stops and then and he just hangs, and you see him teetering, and there's just this tension and release there
There's
that is so
also,
good.
there's some great tension and release where he'll like slow way down and like be like you see what's going to happen, or you have an idea of what might happen, but he's like almost stopped, and then he'll pop out of it quickly. So now I guess let's talk about Flagcapper's part, which is he has these great smooth manuals.
And
then he recycles this here, which is really cool. I don't know if he did this with stabilizers or red lines or just lots of trial and error. But then he must have done it with one or the other, because then he recycles that one on the other side, which I still don't know how people do that, but
it's
and then he does
I've
this
just
sort of
a
granule thing, and then there's this playing around with like different speeds of acceleration lines. I don't know. For me, this is like, these are really cool ideas, but they're kind of rapid fire. You know, they all happen really quickly, and so it's hard to really take them in. And then this is like some great like Miniature and Blue gravity tumbling, except the music is not doing that.
It's super quiet. It's super quiet. That's the part I point out when it's like.
And then that overbalanced nose manual, which I guess is speeding him up.
Into the zero rotation.
Yeah.
And at this part, it doesn't feel like he just kind of sits there and then hits it like donk. It doesn't feel like he's going up and hanging or anything like that.
There's no suspension there. And
it's
then
just
feels like just space. Like this is just recycling for the sake of recycling.
Yeah.
Which is cool, I guess, except honestly I didn't notice it was recycling until just now.
Yeah.
But I just realized, oh, he's just recycling things from earlier in the track because he can. It went by really quickly and it didn't fit the music, and I was just sort of like, what is happening? I didn't realize it was actually a recycle. Maybe it's just because those moments are easier to miss in comparison to with what happened earlier in the track.
Mm-hmm. I don't really know what to say about this part. There's just a lot of flat sled.
That was just like a flat sled recycle. Like, I don't remember if that synced with the music or not.
And then this pop, is that a pop? Yeah, that's a pop.
This was a great moment. I think that's a recycle, but that might have been an example where it was like recycled, but like
they're gonna use it again later.
Oh yeah. And this part, I thought like it fits the music pretty well, and also it was cool to see him ride the same line, like this is like 2 or 3 times. But then I think it's like the third time he rides it. It like maybe it's not the third time, but like at some point, this part doesn't fit the music anymore. There's some stuff that happens here was kind of just, I think they were just trying to like get him out. No, wait, it wasn't that part. That part did fit, but then this, I don't remember. He rides it a bunch of times, and towards the end it started being like, I don't know if this really fits the music anymore. It just feels like you're recycling. I don't know. I think recycling is like, I think it can be a great tool, like to have him go somewhere and then go back through there and then go back through there. Like it can feel cool, but if you do it just for its own sake, it usually isn't that interesting unless you've tried to do it yourself, which is, again, the thing is like, just who are you making this track for? Because Lucking's early part feels like it's created for like anyone that likes music can hear and it could watch the track, and can feel that. And then
that was
a lot of the recycling feels like it's directed at the community, being like, look at all this recycle we can do. That was one of my favorite parts there, where he pops up and then does the slow thing. And I loved how Lucking actually took, it looks like, to me, like Lucking took that inspiration from Flagcapper's part, where Flagcapper did something like that, and Lucking was like, oh, I can use that in my music syncing stuff. And I thought that was really good. This ending part I thought was pretty good, because it goes back to the music syncing. It's that like 60% of the way through the track mark where it kind of gets lost and is like, we're going to recycle a bunch now, and we're going to put that ahead of everything the track has so far been about,
Yeah.
I should address, Lucking actually sent me this track, like he sent me the TRK and the music file, and I played it, and it was done up through about, let me look back. Yeah, about like the 1 minute mark, or maybe like before that, it was like 50 seconds or something. And I remember the syncs being like some of them were on and some of them were off, and I didn't see that in the playback. So I'm like, did Flagcapper do some really sneaky video editing? Was my computer lagging? Because it seemed pretty consistently slightly off to me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe LRA runs different, like the music syncing thing works differently on a Mac. Like I just don't know. It was weird because it was like kind of like a lot of these were like a little off, and then these ones at the beginning, and then when we watched the video, it was like, no, these look great. I don't think there was any of them that I was like, oh, that's off. But then when I was looking at it on my computer, I was like, oh, this one's a little late, and this one's a little late, and this one's right on. And that was most of my critique when he sent it to me. And so now I'm like, I don't know. Did you like really sneakily doctor this, or like, I just don't know. I don't know, man.
So I didn't notice. Cool.
Yeah, I guess that works.
If it added to the experience, I'm not that torn up about it.
I guess the only drawback of that is that it limits itself to video watching, so you can't like watch it in Line Rider.
I'm sure it probably is just a compatibility issue.
But I mean, that's true of like Breathtaking Silence.
Yeah.
Or like Bolted to the Wall, so can't watch it in Line Rider. Even today, I even have a merged file, and it's too old of a version. It's a long story.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there.
Anyway, I think
that's all.
Long story short, lots of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Could have been more consistent, but lots of interesting things to explore and chew on.
Lots of great stuff from both of them. Flagcapper stuff in general felt like it didn't belong in the track, but was still cool. And lots of great ideas. Just like think about where and why and how you want to put them in a track, And then Lucking. Oh, I did have something to say. This is the third track with the same style and the same musical artist from Lucking. And I want to say that's cool. Like, if you like doing that, that's great. But, like, I'm a little just unnerved a little by, like, it smites of, like, back in the old times, like 2010, when people would be like, make a track, and then they'd make a track, and a bunch of people would be like, wow, this is really good, and they'd be like, oh, I'm gonna make that track 2, that track 3, that track 4. I'm gonna use the same style of music. I'm gonna do the same style of track, and it's just gonna be the same thing over and over and over and over. And I'm like, I'm feeling that vibe a little from this. Like it's great. I love it, but it's like it is the same thing, I would like to see, You
can only explore a concept so much.
It's not even that. It's just I would like to see some exploring a concept or exploring different concepts. I mean, you don't have to abandon something. You don't have to be like, I have to do this style or something completely different. I mean, you can do this style and add on to it. But Flagcapper provided a little bit of potential adding on. And if you like doing it, then by all means keep doing it, and it might get better, and you might find more things to develop. But like, I don't know. I mean, for me, I would say the starting point for if I was Lucking right now, I'd be like, what if I tried doing this to a different musical artist? Like this music lends itself nicely, but maybe there's other music that lends itself in different ways. I mean, I don't know, just expanding that horizon and not looking at it as like I'm doing this style and now I'm going to do something entirely different, but like try to broaden that. You know what I mean? Like, say you do a different style of music, and that makes the track a little different in structure. Like maybe it's a little faster, or maybe there's a little, maybe there's more curves and less of the quirk, or maybe there's more quirk and less of the curves, or maybe there's more recycling, or I don't know. But like, there's a lot of possibilities of directions you could take it, but just don't take the direction of going down into the ground of burying yourself in this one thing that worked. If you know.
I can agree with that.
All right. Well, we're at 25 minutes, so it's probably a good time to wrap it up.
Yep.
It was a good track, and we had a lot of things to say about it. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Indeed.
See you next time. Bye. Requested by, damn it. This was, we were reviewing Jagged Peak Adventure requested by...
Is it a phrasable?
It might have been. I'm going to look it up.
If you're still around, a phrasable. Sorry, we got to it,
like a
finally.
million years later. No, it's not in that. Oh, yes, it is in this section. Okay, here it is. Who requested it? Where is it? I can't find it. I don't know who requested this.
I don't know.
Oh man. I have no idea. Well,
we got to it,
like a
finally.
million years later. Why is this? No, it's not in that. Oh yes, it is in this section. Okay, here it is. All right. Well, requested by somebody at some point that I do not remember anymore. A long time ago, and by a long time I mean like a year ago.
Golden comment on Jagged Peak Adventure by Colonel Sanders. WTF, this was almost 10 years ago. I used to play this in IT lessons at school all the time. Fuck you, Mr. Barrett.
I think that's a review right there.
Yep. Also, Peter Parker a year ago. What the hell I'm doing here?
Should we just watch it and then talk about stuff, or we could talk about the history first? Why not? Let's do that.
So I don't know that much of the history, so this is going to be story time with Rabid.
All right,
here.
Well, here we go. It has 11 million views, but the biggest reason it has 11 million views is because this was uploaded in October 19th, 2006, right?
Yeah.
Beta 2 came out in December 2006.
Yeah, so this was made with pre-beta 2.
Here. So this is he says made with pre-beta 2, but at the time, here I'm going to go to our archive page here. All this says is a scenic trip through the magical world of Line Rider. No, you can't get this version of Line Rider, don't ask. Stop asking what the song is. It's only been mentioned in the comments a few dozen times. So like this was before beta 2. So initially a lot of the people were like it was a huge deal that first of all anyone could make something like this in Line Rider. But the reason was, if you look at the top, there is an eraser up there, but there's not a straight line tool. But there is an eraser, so he can use he uses the pencil
and a zoom tool,
and he can use the zoom
and
tool
a flag tool.
And a flag tool. So he has pencil, he has eraser, he has zoom, and he has flag, but no straight line. And presumably a lot of other like tools he doesn't have. Like there are no line types. It's pretty clear. See, he has the pencil selected, but there's no colors, which means there's no acceleration lines, there's no scenery lines. So the interesting thing about this is created entirely with blue lines, but there's no visual on which side is blue. He just had to draw them a specific way and then remember. So it's really cool because one of the interesting things about this track is that means that he didn't add the scenery later. He created the track and the scenery at the same time as he went, because that's the only way you could do it if all you had was blue lines. So anyway, so those are all really interesting things. so a lot of the initial thing was like, because of the power of the eraser tool, he was able to make this huge world, and then like if he didn't, like he Bosch crashed or something, he just erased that and try again, you know? And he had a flag, so he could actually like track him instead of having to play the track from the beginning every time, you know? There wasn't a flag in the original beta, was there? So you'd have to play the track from the beginning every time, which is like hard and time consuming.
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1, go.
So I only discovered Cowboy Bebop years. Oh shoot! I'm on quarter speed. Started from the beginning.
Okay. Well, while we're starting from the beginning, I can talk about this beginning because the first couple seconds I think brilliantly set up the concept of Line Rider if someone isn't familiar with it. All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. So he has the pencil tool, he goes over to the play button, he hits the play button, and then you see the guy drop onto the line and ride down it. And you're like, oh, that's what Line Rider is. He drew this with the pencil, and then he hit a play button, you know? And it's brilliant in how quickly it conveys that to the viewer, you know? And I think it was unintentional. Is the funny thing. But,
yeah.
I think it's time we blow this thing.
Anyway.
Get everybody in the stuff together.
Oh, man.
The other thing is that
Okay,
a lot of the
3,
tricks
2,
he's
1,
doing
let's
here are like things that like, if you were an actual sledder going down a hill, it would be like awesome, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it literally just feels like he's just sledding down a mountain, you know? Like that little jump on the bridge, it's like he got some air on the bridge, you know?
Yeah, the genius is that it feels like he's doing tricks in a world without the world being specifically set up for him to do tricks. It's the same.
And then this was like and then that's like a super intense moment where he like there's a waterfall and he goes super fast, you know?
Yeah. The brilliance is that is the same as like when you watch a video of like a snowboarder going through like a giant mountain city and like sledding down through the streets. They weren't made for snowboarding, but he's doing it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You want to just watch it again?
Yes.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. So I think that is the thing, is that like most of the track blends into the scenery, which is something that a lot of even tracks much later have a really hard time with, is making the scenery and the track fit together. Like the little manual down the side of the house doesn't look like it was made for that. It looks like he just like the guy is just going onto the house, you know, and it's like, oh, awesome, he's going down the house, you know. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like you know, the scenery of the house is trying to like constrain itself to the track, you know.
Yeah, it's not like they saw this. They thought, oh, a track line, and then did that. It was, and that's, I think, another consequence of creating it at the same time.
Yeah. I think this is the part where I shake my fist at Tech Dog, because I think Tech Dog's later tracks, it's actually discarded was probably the turning point where he made the track had discarded before he made the scenery, and then follow up by Monumental, which is like, obviously some of that scenery was added on afterward, you know, and that became the big thing that everyone was doing, is you make the track first and then you make the scenery. And we kind of lost the sort of magical quality of like having a little guy go through a world. Let's just watch it again.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Because this track, it's like, it's very clear that there's a little guy going through a world, you know? And the world is not trying to show off, like, look at how good this person is at drawing the world. It's just a world, and it's just fun to watch the guys go through it, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's time we blow this scene. Get
I think it's
together.
A product of
3, 2,
not necessarily wanting to impress, but it's impressive in spite of that.
Yeah,
like,
it's
he could have spent an agonizing amount of detail on this, but he didn't.
And the thing is that doesn't really hurt it that much, you know? It's still fun just to watch him go through this world, and the world is not terribly well drawn, but that doesn't mean that it's not fun to watch him go through it, you know?
Yeah, and like structurally, it's such an interesting world too.
And so I think that when we try to make when we focus so much on the detail of tracks and how good the artwork is or how good the tricks that he's doing are, we lose the idea of that was like presented so well in this track, which is of having just a world that he travels through, and that's what's most fun about Line Rider for the casual viewer. Do you want to watch it at quarter speed?
Yeah, why not?
All right, let's do it.
There's not a lot to analyze. Look at this rock.
We can talk about. Actually, there is, but it's gonna go by slower. We can talk about more specific things.
Okay. There's a lot to analyze, but not like in his motion necessarily.
The rotational flow is off the charts, man.
Dude, hecka true.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
I like the idea of just dropping him there. It is very like, it feels how Line Rider felt to me when I started making, you know, drop him down, there he is, and that's what a lot of people do with Line Rider. Is their first thing, they make a slope and see if it works, and then from there it just explodes into this, I think he does a good job with like a sense of scale. He establishes that there are like mountains in the background. He's coming down from the previous mountains into these sort of like smaller foothills, and then you see the cabin and you're like, okay, we have come down from the jagged peak. What is below?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, there's a house. We're at like ground level now. And so there's this sense of like scale. You've come from the top of a mountain all the way down.
For me, I think this nose manual on the side of the house is iconic, and I think it's what set off the whole idea. Well, maybe not all of them, but like it was one of the defining things that got people to try to figure out how to do nose manuals themselves, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing about the nose manual on the house is that it's like, if you make a nose manual loop, it's clear that you are doing the track maker, are creating the trick. Whereas if you have Bosch nose manualing down the side of a house like that, Bosch is the one doing the trick there. You're not like, oh, what a cool trick Unconed made. You're like, oh, what a cool trick Bosch did, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the genius of it. And then I also want to highlight what I think is my favorite part of how clearly it feels like Bosch is doing the trick, which is this little fakey flip, right? Right?
Yeah,
right?
He hits it and he's like,
here.
Backflip.
It's like, backflip over the chasm. You know, it's like, that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like you're like, it doesn't feel like it's like, what a cool backflip Uncone made. It's like, what a cool backflip that Bosch did, you know? Yeah. And it's like the track that, like, yes, the track made him do that backflip.
And this part,
but it's
like,
that's sort of
if you were
hidden,
experiencing, if you were experiencing this bit in real life, you'd be like, "Oh shit!" Because he like hits it with the front of his sled, he tips it, and it's very like Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is that like modern Manuquark tracks, like you can't imagine doing that yourself, you know. You can't. It's impossible to imagine being the guy doing those tricks. But then like here, like, look at that big air on the bridge, you know, like it feels like Tony Hawk is a great word to use, because it feels like he's doing like Tony Hawk Pro skateboarding stuff here, you know?
Yeah. And then you can see that little division where he like went through.
Yeah. Some very sneaky and clever ways of making the track lines be, you know, he passes through them.
And then like, in a cave system, people are always like, man, what if you could like sled in a cave system? And it's like, what the shit? This guy's doing it, the absolute madman. And it feels like, it feels like a natural cave, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing, is see that curve there and how it mirrors the curve on the opposite side and the curve below it.
It feels like stalactite-y.
It feels like, oh, this is like he's just sledding through a cave. It's not like, oh, here's the track and then here's the cave scenery. You know, there's no separation. The scenery blends in perfectly, however badly drawn, blends in perfectly with the track to the point where you don't really see the track. Like, if someone took a picture of Jagged Peak Adventure, you would have a hard time saying, this is the track and this is the scenery, you know? And that's what's so brilliant about it. And that's something that I've been pushing for years, is like blending the track into the scenery, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and then the waterfall bit that's such a rush.
I have to admit that when I first saw it, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was a
waterfall. Oh yeah.
It was so. There's my critique of Jagged Peak Adventure: is the waterfall sucks. Make it look like an actual waterfall. The waterfalls are hard though. Have you ever tried to draw a waterfall in Line Rider? I have. It's hard.
I've watched you try to make a waterfall in Line Rider. It's hard.
I think I've tried to draw a waterfall 2 or 3 times. It's never worked out very well. Another thing is something that's really interesting and great about the track is that the opening is 1 second and then you're into the track, you know? And the ending, you have the title and the author. Just like, boom, here it is, and then it's done. And I think we're sort of starting to get back to that a little bit, where it's like, maybe a little intro, but then mostly it's just intro and then track. And then at the end, it's like, okay, and now here's all the stuff that we're crediting, you know?
Yeah.
Because for a while, it was like, dramatic intro, dramatic intro, dramatic intro, dramatic intro, track, credits, you know? And people would have like a 5-minute video for a 1-minute track, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
and then it would like play sad piano music for the color replay, and it would be like, here are all the inspirations. Thank you for inspiring me over the years.
And I think a lot of that comes from a lot of different things, and you know, I'm certainly guilty of that, and I tried out a lot of different ways of doing that. But I think that the Jagged Peak approach has a nice elegance to it, and I like that a lot of tracks nowadays are taking that approach, you know, that maybe the intro is part of the track, or maybe the intro is made in Line Rider, or maybe the intro is just really short, and then you get into the track, but yeah. And, you know, total hypocrite here, the guy who made a 2-minute intro to a 1-minute track. But
hell yeah. You know, you can break the rules.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not saying that's a rule that you have to do it this way. It's just something that you should be aware of. You know, how do I want to set this up? Where do I want to put the information about the track, and where do I want to just put the track?
Awareness, my dude. Words have been said. Eclipse has been released. I love that intro just for how like friggin' dramatic it is. Anyway, back to Jagged Peak.
Should we watch the track once and just go, oh, every time he does something we like?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. No words permitted except oh. All right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh wait, we should.
Oh wait. Yeah,
speed,
gotta get out of full speed. Hold on.
All right.
We had the same problem at the same time. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh! Oh man.
Oh!
No, I'm not gonna do this.
Oh! Oh!
I'm gonna be a little more articulate. This moment. This is so good. It's so good. And then the log. It's writing inside objects, but it's good. It's good writing inside objects.
But he's in the log.
He's inside the log so that you can see it.
It's not writing inside an object.
3, 2,
if it was a rock, it would be.
Oh!
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah. And then I love this part because it's like an air and it like lingers and then he's like bam, woo! And then he flips down onto this road. You see a helicopter and you're like, oh shit! And then he's on the bridge. And then see ya, we're taking a path less traveled into the cave.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. I forgot how much I liked this track. And then he's through this and it's like, waterfall.
Oh snap! Oh snap! Oh snap!
And everyone was like, massive. That was ludicrous speed for 2006.
2006?
That was ludicrous speed.
Die at the slopes level madness.
Oh.
All right, that was fun.
That was good.
All right, so in conclusion, Jagged Peak is great, and we can learn so much from it.
Making tracks in the future.
What?
Hey, Uncode, if you're making some tracks in the future, here are some things you can do. Make sure you
Uncode, if you
smooth
ever
that.
make more tracks, here's some tips.
Get ready. I'm gonna review this like it's a new community member.
Go ahead.
All right. So you did some pretty cool things here. I like how you did the movement and stuff. Here's what you need to do though. Make sure your wells are stronger and your manuals are smoother. You want to make sure you're as
track. Learn how to quirk.
Precise as possible. Maybe add some gravity wells. Also the scenery
go ahead.
Very sparse. You should just add as much detail.
Add as much detail as you possibly can. More manuals. Disregard the track. Make lots of manuals. Disregard physics. Make lots of quirks. Add,
man.
Make it longer. Add a really dramatic intro.
Dude, you can set it up with a crazy intro. Words have been said. Line Rider Urban Run has been released.
Also, you need to thank all your inspirations in the credits.
Oh, I do that. I do that.
I do that too. It's okay. Also, we should probably keep in mind that I think he made this track in like 2 days.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Well, that's the thing is that I think like we somewhere along the line we got this idea that like the more work you put into a track, the more worthy it is of watching, and that's not true.
Hey man, I spent like a week on that octopus, and I'm not gonna let go.
That's the thing. It's hard for us to let go of that, you know.
I'm not. I'm not gonna let go of that one. Otherwise,
see, that's the thing. I think it's impossible for a lot of people to let go of that. So it's because it's like it's so hard to be like, I spent hundreds of hours on this thing, you know, and like I mean, so many people have struggled with this, and I think the very people who struggle with it are the people that other people look up to and say, I'm going to be just like them, which is a very, very bitter irony, you know. So I don't know. My 2 cents.
Anyway, yeah, JP Adventure. It's a good track, you guys.
It's a good track, and we should make more like scenery tracks that get back to what was actually interesting about Line Render, which is making Bosch do tricks instead of you do tricks, and making the scenery blend into the track, and like just making it and getting it out there and not spending a million years adding detail.
Yeah, so, all of these things.
I'm actually kind of inspired to do that myself now, except I don't have any ideas that would be original. So maybe I'll keep thinking on it.
Towers.
Oh yeah, that's a that's a good idea.
Towers.
We should do something like that. Anyway, that's a project that we're talking about. That's nothing.
Anyway,
that's enough of a review. That's a review. Right. We're done with the review.
All right, cool.
Also, I will be posting a comment on Jagged Peak Adventures saying that we did a quick review, and people can check it out, just like I do for all the other videos.
Unconed.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Another comment.
We're quick reviews. I'm Rabbit Squirrel. This is OTDE. We never do this. But maybe more people might see this review because I'm going to post it as a comment on Jagged Peak Adventure. Whatever. Bye!
Somebody said, nostalgia, anyone? And then another person said, same. I was like 6 years old when this came out. Holy shit. That person is almost 17 now.
Wow.
That person is almost 17.
That's actually terrifying. All right. For the record, I was like 14 when this came out. Whatever. No, I was younger than that. Holy crap! I'm 24.
I was 10, I think.
All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Yeah.